Hi. Hey everyone, my name is Tavon Gatling. I'm trying out this YouTube thing. Officially, this is 2 consistent weeks and we'll see if we can keep it going. While I haven't really had a YouTube channel of my own, I have been working on my amazing fiance's channel. You can check him out at Busy Blue, no space, no E. Should be a card up here somewhere at this point in time if I remember to do it. He's amazing. Go check out his channel. Let's see what else. I work in tech. I primarily make Android applications. I can do some iOS stuff if it's in Flutter. I've learned some Python, so I can do some stuff in AWS. A whole bunch of techie stuff that, I like doing, but I would rather create like content, written word, and videos kind of stuff. I love experimenting with new things. This surge of interest in doing YouTube videos came from my very random stumbling across DaVinci Resolve, and I made some shorts for my fiance, and now I was like, oh, I want to do more editing of videos. So that's kind of what pushed me to do this sooner rather than later. All right, so let's get into this Booktube Newbie tag. Was that dramatic enough? I hope so. Question number 1. Why did you start a booktube? I touched on this in the rambling intro, but I want a YouTube channel of my own. I want to be able to do some of the things that I do for my fiance's channel, like the thumbnails and everything, and apply that to something that's mine. I have a blog that I run where I post a lot of my creative writing, as well as some blog posts centered around tabletop games, primarily City of Mist now, but I've written some stuff for D&D. And I don't know, I just want to be able to have another outlet to be creative. I love learning new things, and I want to be able to put that somewhere, even if it's not like a thing that I'm really super well at. I just like having the knowledge, and having this YouTube channel gives me chances to experiment with a lot of the stuff that I've been running across. I follow a few booktubers like Daniel Green, Cam Wolf, and Captured in Words, and I like a lot of their videos. I also fall down the occasional rabbit hole, like I said, with like DaVinci Resolve, photo manipulation rabbit hole. Having this YouTube channel gives me a chance to put a lot of that stuff into some kind of practice. The second question is, why do you love reading? Just do. I just do. I saw on another booktuber's, I'm trying to remember it without looking it up. Something by K, because she is where I got the last question on here from. I'm gonna find it really quickly. Booked by K, yes. She mentioned in her newbie tag that our go-to answer is escapism, and it's like, that's the answer, I think. I like exploring all these different worlds and putting together the mysteries myself and solving all this stuff. I just like doing all of that. I love reading. Even if I don't do it enough, I love reading. So yeah, that's my answer. Next question is, what book or series got you into reading? The first part of this answer is that I don't know, and I will never be able to remember. I had an amazing pre-K teacher whose name I don't remember. I don't remember the name of the school or anything, but I remember the experience of pre-K. She taught us all to read. My mother was like super proud of that. And yeah, I've been reading ever since pre-K for the most part. The second part of this answer is, growing up, I read a lot of Goosebumps. I believe his name is Roald Dahl. A few other random books that I picked up. Like I read Matilda and Carrie. Amazing books, by the way. Amazing books. And yeah, I picked up anything that interested me and I read those. The problem is, when we got a computer in the 5th grade, stopped reading. Like cold turkey, stopped reading. Could not put a book in my hand. Technology kind of took over my life and I did not want to read anymore. As an adult, I could see that I was still reading. I did a lot of online role playing, so I was essentially still reading other people's written works, but I just wasn't reading actual books anymore. I pretty much ignored all the books that were assigned to us in school. I hated them all, including The Hobbit. The Hobbit was wordy as hell, and I'm still put off to it to this day, even though it's in my genre of stuff that I would like. So yeah, the final part to this answer is that knowing that I didn't really read from 5th grade for some time, when I graduated college, I moved to Gainesville, Florida. A friend of mine, he put me onto The Name of the Wind. Now, I didn't get that then. That is explained further in another question. But I started reading The Name of the Wind. Took me forever to finish reading it. I think it took me, I want to say like a year or two to finish reading it, and it was the only book I was reading. But the only time I ever found to read was in airports, because any other time I would start falling asleep. I managed to get my way through it, and I loved the book. I just couldn't, I wasn't a reader anymore. I've been getting back into reading ever since, so now I consider myself a proper reader, and I read, I feel like, a lot, but according to Booktube, not enough. We'll get into that in, I think it's the next question. Yeah, the next question is, what challenges starting a Booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? First of all, consistency. I gotta hope that this current obsession pushes me forward, but I think so. And then I know that I won't try to overexert myself. I'm surprised that I'm putting out a video this week. I said I was going to try to do every other week, but I had this idea and I was like, you know what? I have the idea. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot it, take some of the pressure off myself, and yeah. But yeah, so far I feel good. I think just consistency is going to be a problem. But also, I don't read books fast enough. Like, I think as I was scrolling through some of the Booktube videos, some of y'all have read like 50 books this year or this month. I've gotten through like a book and a half, and I don't think I'm going to get through the current book before the end of this month. I'm going to try my best, but y'all read really fast for me. So we got to hope that I read enough books to actually do proper reviews. I did say that because I know that fact about me, I'm going to try to review or recommend some short stories as well. There's a podcast that I listen to, either Escape Pod or Podcastle, that has short stories, and I can listen to a few of those, batch them together in one video, and yeah, have that sent out. So yeah, I'm gonna try some different things. The next question is, where do you read? I read primarily in bed, right before going to sleep. So about 30 minutes to an hour before actually falling asleep, I might try to pick up a book. Like tonight, it's already 10:18 p.m. for me here. After I record this video, I'm probably going to try to do some reading, hopefully get a chapter in the book that I'm reading right now. I'll describe more about what I'm reading in one of the future questions. But yeah, that's pretty much the only time I can ever really find to read now. I feel like I'm not breathing properly. I used to be able to read during my commute to and from work, but because of COVID, I work from home now, and I don't have that dedicated reading time anymore. Would be nice if I could carve out some more times in the morning to read, but I'll have to start working that in slowly. I don't have the energy. I do get some reading done. All right, the next question is, what kind of books do you like to read? I like to read fantasy, and I do like the occasional sci-fi. I feel like after, let me grab a book. There we go. To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. I was gifted this at work for Secret Santa. I think I had put on there sci-fi or fantasy, not really meaning to put sci-fi on there. The book is definitely intimidating, but it was a really good read. So yes, sci-fi, fantasy, some modern in there. So modern sci-fi, modern fantasy, I like those as well. And I'm also trying to put in more nonfiction books. So like some self-help, some just different types of books. There is, where's my phone? No, it's here. Where is it? I've read Save the Cat, writes a novel. I'll probably read that again before NaNoWriMo this year. I've read Storyworthy, which was really, really good. I want to reread that because I feel like I want to take in that information again. I put a pause on reading How to Be Rich. I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Crap. What's it called? I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Yeah, a few more. But I'm trying to put in the occasional nonfiction book between some of the heavy sci-fi and fantasy stuff. Next question is, do you read in one sitting or in multiple? I typically read in multiple sittings. It takes me a while to get through a book. Typically, it takes me between 2 to 4 weeks to finish a typical novel, depending on how much time I can devote to it. Every once in a while, I'll be able to like power through a book. Like there is a book called Recursion by Blake Crouch. I powered through that, I want to say in like a sitting and a half. Like I think I read like a chapter or two in one sitting, went back I think the next day and powered through. I could not put the book down. That happens rarely, also depending on other life circumstances, because I think I had like some free time that day. But yeah, typically multiple sittings. The next question is one POV or multiple POVs? I do not have a preference. Sanderson typically writes in multiple POVs, but I've read plenty of single POVs and been just fine. I think it just depends on the story that's being told. I have zero preference. Next question is, can you read while listening to music? Typically, if music is being played, I would like it to be lyricless. So like some lo-fi or actually just typically lo-fi or silence. That's what I prefer. The next question is bookmarks or dog ears? Neither. I'm typically a digital reader, so neither of these apply to me. That's why the bookshelf is so barren. But if I have a bookmark or a sheet of paper or something, I'll use that. But if I don't have that, I'll dog ear stuff. That's what I did when I was rereading The Name of the Wind a few years back on the Metro. I think I had a bookmark. No, I used the slipcover. No, I made a bookmark. What is this? Oh, I took a sheet of paper and used it as a bookmark. So yeah, there's that. Buy versus borrow. Typically because I read ebooks, I buy, but I mean, I guess it doesn't stop me from renting an ebook or whatever. But yeah, I typically buy all my books, even if they're bad. Favorite author. It's hard for me to ever pick a favorite for pretty much anything. I'm not indecisive, but it's hard for me to say that something is my favorite for the most part. But I think I can safely say that Sanderson is my favorite author, at least for this current moment. Cranks out content like nobody's business. There's always something to read. It's always enticing and just good. So yeah, him. Sanderson is my favorite author for the moment. Probably will be for some time. Patrick Rothfuss would be a contender if we just got the third book. Moving along. Newest book I have read by publication date. Technically, You, Me, and the Nightmare Painter. It's been a pretty light year reading otherwise. So I haven't read too much of anything outside of Sanderson this year. Last book I recommended to someone. I typically don't get a chance to do many book recommendations. However, I do remember that I want to say the last book I like legitimately recommended to somebody was Kindred by Octavia Butler. I recommended it to my mom. This was some years ago. And she liked it. I really liked the book too. It was very interesting read. But yeah, I think that was the last one. Book I'm currently reading. So currently I am reading Neon Ghost, A Witch's Sin by YouTuber Daniel Green. It's really good so far. I believe I'm about a third of the way through. I would like to do my best and get through the rest of this within a week, but I have to make time to do some reading. It's good so far. It is definitely sci-fi heavy, but also familiar fantasy elements. It's a very interesting read so far, and I'm enjoying it. How do I feel about cliffhangers? Kind of love them if they're done right. Like a good cliffhanger Ooh, it's just so good. Like, for instance, the 5th season, I believe it's the last words in the book, is such the biggest, I want to say, cliffhanger, and also just tease, because it's like, how did I not notice this? It was amazing. I think that trilogy I devoured as well. I think I read one of those in like a small handful of sittings. Whew, good books, good books. And the final question is, what does your book collection look like? Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's pretty barren right now. At least the physical side. I have a lot of ebooks. When I was single, I would move, I felt like, too much, and I didn't want to have to lug them back and forth to various locations. So I just started buying digitally. It's also easier when I want to switch from one book to another. It's all just right there in my phone. So I read a lot of books digitally. Once I got with my fiance, that's when I started actually like putting down roots and making spaces permanent. So I think I had requested him to get me The Name of the Wind. That's when I reread it. I think that was the first physical book that I added to a library of sorts. Then I started getting more and more. Yeah, I'm hoping that now that we have this home together, I will fill out a bookshelf full of books and tabletop things and just all kinds of great stuff. If you have any book recommendations, please leave them down in the comments below. I could always use something great to read. My TBR is technically very, very long, but because it's only in the Google Play Books wish list, I don't see it enough. I'll have to make a video about that at some point. That is all the questions that I have today. Like I said, I got the last question from Booked by K, and then all the other questions I took from, where is his channel? Here we go. The Book Potato. I'll put both of their links in the description below so you can check out their newbie tags. And I guess that's it. Leave a like, subscribe, maybe, if you made it this far. And yeah, I hope to see you all again next week when I figure out what else to make. So yeah, bye. So good.